Good morning and welcome to another edition of Notes of Interest. Today with me is Miss Kimberly Xavier Wells, Mrs. Wells, and she is the managing director for the a number of companies, and we're looking at leverage management group. And under the leverage management group, we have companies like My Kind of Travel. We have the UPS delivery service, Parcels Express, among a number of other companies. Today, we're actually going to be speaking about resume writing. And a lot of people may not know this about Mrs. Wells. She actually has a degree in human resource management and she sees resumes all the time. And so we're just going to speak with her a little bit about what's going to happen post COVID in terms of people applying for a job, how human resource managers and managers are looking at people in their application for employment, and what resumes should look like when you're sending a resume out. This is the beginning of our four-part series on career preparation post COVID-19. So, Mrs. Wells, welcome. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
I know you're very busy.
Well, thank you so very much. Well, let me start with a little clarification. Yes, you are right. I do see a lot of resumes, and that's because I manage a number of small businesses across a group, the Leverage Business Group. And so we have a wide variety of resumes also because the businesses are diverse. So we have from management consulting to travel to courier, and of course you will get different um, levels of resumes, people with different educational backgrounds, and as such, I've seen quite a few from entry level to, of course, postgraduate degree level.
Right. A question. Today, recognizing that a lot of managers and HR managers are actually going on Facebook and on social media and reviewing the candidates before calling them in. Why is that, and what is the objective at the end?
Well, even pre-COVID, you would find that we had already started looking at people's profiles. That's because you want to find out the true person
Mhm.
behind who you're interviewing. Very often, people come prepared for an interview with very standard questions that they get off the internet. And
Mhm.
of course, it's very easy for you to practice those questions and to get the right answers to the questions that are predefined, if
Mhm.
you will. But you want to really know who that person is, what their interests are, um, and it really gives you a picture of who is behind the resume as opposed to somebody that just comes and is able to ace an interview.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So
And go ahead.
what has happened with COVID is that a lot of businesses have gone online. With social distancing, you find that everything is online, everything is all about social media. So it becomes even more important now because your interest now is that person's ability to work online, to work with social media, to work with the internet. So
So
it's even more important.
are we going to see interviews happening like this post COVID?
Absolutely, it's already started. Of course, things had been ongoing. There are people that were already up for interviews, and for the types of some businesses, unfortunately, have had to cease operations. But there are some businesses that continue, and of course, recruitment continues.
Right.
So, of course, with social distancing, this is quite an effective way of communicating, and it's as long as you are able to gather what you're looking for from the applicants. Absolutely, this is a method that will probably continue thereafter.
Right. Now you mentioned what you're looking for. When a CV and a letter comes to you, what are you looking for? What is supposed to be on there? What's going to spark your interest and get you to call this person?
Well, as I said, what people will be looking for now is your experience with the internet, your ability to work with the internet, to work online, to work with social media, which is primarily how people market now. Not just can you go on Facebook and post jokes, but how are you able to use it for your work? So you're looking for these things more and more now, but you're also looking for a right fit. And it's important for candidates to know, and usually I tell especially entry level applicants, if you have not been accepted for a job, it doesn't mean that you have failed or that you are not good enough for another job. What the hirer is looking for is a right match with that particular job, that particular position. So some people are actually overqualified. Some people you just don't find that it's the right fit for that particular position.
Mhm, 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 mhm. And so let's look at the resume as a document. Um, we know that the name is supposed to go on the top. You have your contact information there, your email address, your physical address, and then coming down. Uh, what is the format that that should follow? Really?
Um, Now I would say currently, times have changed, and even how I was taught at school to perhaps write an essay, you find things are very different right now. What is important is that you present the resume in a way that it captures what you're selling of yourself. Some
Hmm.
people tend to put their work experience first. Some now will put their educational experience first, and it really depends on what you see as being able to sell you, and whether that is perhaps your degree that you think will do, or perhaps if it's your experience that you want to showcase and highlight. It's also very important how you lay out the resume. You don't want it too wordy so that somebody does not care to read it because it's too busy or too wordy. You don't want it too lengthy because that is not always an indication that you're the best employee for the job just because you have a very thick resume either.
So you saying that a resume should not be too thick. What do you believe is a good length for a resume? How many pages? Four, five, two?
2 to 4,
Okay.
depending on what level of applicant it is. So, by the same token, you don't expect to be hiring for a managerial position and not have sufficient information on the person's qualification and experience. For an entry level person, you don't expect it to be too lengthy either, but you're looking at least for something that you can work with to begin with. So, you're looking at about 2 to 4. And we're talking about going online and using social media, using graphics. We don't read as much as we used to. So definitely, again, you don't want to make it too wordy and too lengthy that it's not attractive and captivating to the person that's going to be analyzing it.
Cover letters, are these necessary? Are we including cover letters with these resumes, or the resume is enough now to sell someone?
If you, with the age that we are in, there are actually quite a few apps, we should say, that you can use to capture the data from a resume. And as such, people have been eliminating the need for a cover letter. Personally, I like it because if we're saying that we don't want the resume too wordy, there might be something that you want to highlight that's perhaps not in the resume, or you just want to reiterate. And as such, you can use a cover letter to do so.
Right, right. Okay, so going back to our resume, we've done the address. The following is your maybe your skill and your ability, some of the things that you're good at, and you said put that in. Then we're going down to the job history. You start with the most recent and going back in time. What do you want in the detail of that job history?
And again, it's you want to understand that the person can do the task before them. You don't want to you don't want too much detail, but at the same time, you want an understanding that the person has grasped the task that is before them. So if you're going to say, for example, that I want a job as a driver, I expect that you would have driven before, you would have a license, but I want to know perhaps what types of goods you were responsible for, and a little detail that would let me know. Again, as I said, because you have a so you can have a driver perhaps that their job is simply to drive. For instance, we have couriers in their business and their job is not just to drive. They're
Right.
expected to details and the like. So you want to know that, okay, I'm not just hiring a driver, and yes, he can drive. What type are you? What were you responsible for? What was the extent of that task that you did perhaps at your previous job? And therefore, will it be a right match for this one?
Okay. I'm noticing, so we've done all of the job experience and detailed beneath that what we did within that job. Then at the end, I'm guessing references, but we've noticed that a number of people are saying references on request and not actually putting references in. Uh, your thoughts?
I would prefer to have the references right away. I mean, it expedites the process. It's the references are, and I will reiterate, the references are not there just to find out what you did not do right or what you did right. Is to ensure that you have a right match. So we're trying to find out some more information from your previous employer, somebody that's able to tell us what you are really like in that job, with the objective of making sure there's a right fit for you and the job. So even if you were not good at something at that previous job, it doesn't mean that that might not be a strength somewhere else. There are some people that like to work alone. There are some people that work better with others. So if it's a job that requires you to work on your own, perhaps where it was not effective at your previous job, it doesn't mean it will not be effective at this one. So the reason there's several reasons for having your references there, and the ultimate objective is for you to make sure that you understanding the person, because it's there's not a lot to go by. You have 2 to 4 pages to try to understand somebody that you're going to pretty much
Right.
employ on average for 5 years. So
Hmm.
you really want to make sure that that person is a right fit for that position, and as such you're trying to gather as much information to make an objective picture and a wider picture of whether that person is a right match. And that brings me to, you you're not just looking at the hardcore qualifications and experience. Sometimes you need to look at the soft skills, and it's becoming increasingly important for you to look at that person's soft skills, and that's not always easily written on a resume. So that's why you need the references, so that you can get some additional information.
Okay, so now this person's resume is complete, they've submitted it. What action should happen from the applicant now at this point? Resume, cover letter is done, submitted it, used an app to get a great cover letter written, put a fantastic resume together. They've submitted it. What's the action?
Thereafter,
Yes, thereafter. What should they do? Um, are they calling in? Hey, I sent in an application, just calling to see whether you received it, or are they waiting for you to call? Because a lot of companies will tell you today, if you call, then you showed interest. So, hey, okay, we may schedule you for an interview instead of you calling, or you stopped by. And
it's
oh, this one too, because here's the thing: the person who stopped by actually gets the opportunity to get the interview rather than the person who calls, because they're right there at the moment. Oh, I have 5 minutes. Let me.
sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes
So, what's the action?
really, if you're going to, as with anything else, you should have a follow through. So if you're going
Right.
to email, send in, post, deliver your application, you want to make sure it gets to the right hands. So it's not simply good enough to just say, well, I dropped it off and perhaps the receptionist never got it to where it needs to go. um, and what have you. You need to do some sort of follow up and follow through, make sure it's got through the right hands and that it's being seen. You don't want to seem too pushy so that you're calling every 3 minutes finding out where it's at,
Right.
but you do want to get some timelines, and you don't you it's in your interest. You need to follow up, as I said, make sure it's in the right hands and that it is being processed.
Excellent. Wow. Fantastic. A wealth of information. Great, great answers. Always a pleasure speaking to you. Um, uh, Thank you so much for all of this information on resume
My
writing and
pleasure.
putting a resume together. So now I want to deal with leverage management as a group. If you could tell us some of the things that are happening, some of the new things that are available, and how people can access your services. I understand that you have a visa processing center, if that's the correct thing to say.
Right. So the Leverage Business Group comprises some companies, um, Solar Tours and Travel being the oldest that many might know of. Solar
Right,
Tours is responsible for inbound travel, destination management. So
right.
everything with visitors coming into the island, the tours, the arrangements as a destination management company they would deal with.
So
Leverage management.
with solar tours, you've been impacted because guests are not coming in.
Absolutely. So we immediately everything plummeted because our borders are closed. So
Mhm.
we have absolutely no visitor arrivals right now, and it has affected the staff. And I think it's important to say that this situation has had an effect on everybody, not just from a health and economic perspective. Our mental wellness is important because it's something that hits suddenly, and as such, we need to care for our employees in terms of how they are able to deal and recover from it.
Okay, and
So we're dealing with that on the inbound.
right. So coming forward, your solar tours, do we see some increased travel coming in the next couple of days? Because I believe we're opening up the
We're
solar tour.
monitoring the situation, of course, together with what's happening in alignment with the government to see when we will open back up.
Mhm.
And of course, our health is of primary importance. The health of the visitor, of the employee.
Mhm.
But we're hopeful that once things rebound, that we will be ready to accept and receive visitors again. We have our protocols in place already, um, in preparation of handling that visitor for their safety and that of our staff as well.
Okay, my kind of travel outbound.
So my kind of travel is responsible for outbound travel, everything from airline tickets, your visa applications, your cruises. My kind of travel would be responsible for anything that's or anyone going out of St. Lucia, traveling out of St. Lucia, and it has been impacted also being in the travel industry. Still operating, assisting people to get their flights changed, rebooked, refunds, and that sort of thing is still going on for us.
The cruise ships opening up very soon. So, can people start speaking to you about booking their cruises? Do you think that they should definitely consider a cruise, noting what happened with Princess Cruise Line?
What is important at the end of the day is the safety and what is in place for everyone's safety.
Right,
And the cruise lines have been working on putting things in place. So for instance, a lot of the cruise lines are going to eliminate their buffet, um, and have more a la carte to sit down dining, so that again you could observe certain protocols and make sure that everything is safe.
right,
What we are hearing on the ground is that, of course, people want to cruise again, people want to travel again, they just want to be sure that it's safe. So it's
right.
very important that we get the protocols right, and get the safety guidelines established so that people feel comfortable when they are on vacation. You want to feel relaxed when you are on a cruise.
So, my kind of travel is definitely to call now to start getting your cruising going um, in the near future.
Absolutely. And a cruise is something that can be pre booked well in advance, years in advance, actually, unlike a flight, perhaps. You can cruise, you choose your cruise a couple of years in advance. So you want to start planning, you want to start putting some monies aside to do so. You want to start choosing where you would like to visit. Some people are being mindful now of their itinerary, and all of that we can help you with to decide, what suits you best. There are people that are adventurous and they don't mind braving certain situations, and there are others that are more cautious. So
Mhm.
all of that is part of what we would help you with.
The visa situation with the embassy in the US, because you guys do visa application for the American embassy. I know that a lot of people's appointments were canceled. What happens with that?
Once application, right now for the US applications, the US Embassy is considering only, pretty much as they would call it, life or death situations for your US passport, renewal of those who have a US passport. For US visa applications, that of course has been suspended. And
Mhm.
once that resumes, we can go ahead and process applications. It is not that you cannot start processing your application, you can, but it would not be submitted for processing by the embassy until they have resumed.
So if people want to right now kind of start applying, they can do that, but they will not be able to do the final leg, which is submit to the embassy for processing. But they can come to you and start putting their visa applications together.
That's right. They can get some information on the actual process because there is a process for it. There's some information that needs to be gathered in order to complete the application. So you can start getting all of your documents together. You can start completing the application form and the like.
Okay. Is UPS is UPS active?
Absolutely. So we have full operation of our courier services.
Mhm.
And that's particularly important because UPS moves a lot of medication. So we've been quite active
Mhm.
in keeping that gap because a lot of people are at home and they rely on these deliveries. So people have been moving medication in and out, essential supplies, documents, anything that at this time they really need to get out. So yes, we have been fully functional to try to bridge that gap with deliveries.
So this is my favorite. We have a program with you, National Farmers, where we're encouraging our members to start to pack their barrels for the holidays. The holidays are coming up. Usually people pack food. So tell us about Pack Me a Barrel and Parcels Express.
So with our company Parcels Express, we offer a barrel packing service. It's unique in that we actually shop for you. So it's a personal shopper service. You can customize your list, tell us exactly what you need. And we know a lot of people are going in the direction of health and wellness. So, it doesn't have to necessarily be your typical canned foods. We'll help you with your list, help you put things together that you want to get in, things that perhaps are not readily available locally that you want to get into your barrel, you want to bulk shop. We help you do that, and um, and to pack your barrel, get it shipped to St. Lucia, get it cleared and delivered to your house.
Wow. So basically all I need to do is just tell you what I want and sit home and wait.
That's right.
Okay.
And
So go ahead, go ahead.
that's right. So you say what you need, you get a quotation. If you need financing for it, of course you can speak
Talk to
to
farmers.
talk to
Because
farmers. That's right. You can talk to
you,
farmers,
you do
and
finance
yeah,
for that Pack Me a
that's
Barrel.
that's right. So you can talk to farmers about financing it, but we'll work with you on the list. Make sure it's within your budget, and you get items that you need. Sometimes, and I will tell you, the first time I did a barrel, I was not sure what to put in it.
Mhm.
Sometimes you need some help as to what's going to be more economical for you to put in there, what's going to last you, and what you should take more or less of.
Right. And so is there a pre-packed barrel that I come and that's it, or I can just only individualize my barrel to my needs?
So we have the family barrel, which is about 1,500 EC. And the reason for that is you don't want to the the barrel, or rather, I would say the box that your grocery, your shopping would come in. You don't want to put half a box and pay for shipping an empty space. So about
Right.
$1,500 is going to give you a nice, fully packed box with an array of items, from canned goods, cleaning items, things that you could use almost for an entire year. And if you're not sure what you want, if you've never done this before, if perhaps you live alone and you just need some stuff and you just need a little bit of everything, then that's fine. We'll help you with packing our family barrel. It will give you a little bit of everything, and it's all inclusive. So again, the 1.5 will cover you for the grocery, the packing, the shipping, the customs clearance, and delivery.
Wow, this is that's wonderful. So it's actually a really simple process.
It is. It is very simple for people that already like online shopping. It's very easy. You can send us your list via email, WhatsApp, what have you. As we said, that this is the age now. And if you're already into online shopping, you will not mind at all just clicking and putting some things in the cart that we can get down for you.
Excellent, excellent. Now the VAC, that's the final one, I believe.
Right. So
Yeah, go ahead.
the VAC is a visa application center.
Right, and what happens in that visa application center?
So what happens is it's primarily for the collection of biometric data, and Parcels Express would be responsible for ensuring that your biometrics are collected and that your application is safely shipped off to the nearest embassy. So in the past, we would have to travel to either Barbados or Trinidad for the collection of biometric data. So what's happening now is you could actually get the data collected right here in St. Lucia for your application.
Okay, and leverage management is in Viewport, Bridge Street, Castries, and Bazawash. The majority of the services at the head office in Bazawash. What's a contact number for you?
Well, and again, you want to go mobile, you want to make sure that you could reach anybody at any time. So if you're looking for us, especially now that some people are working from home, you could reach us for parcels, courier related matters, 720-1725. For travel, 724-7227.
Right,
And on the landlines, you could reach us on 452-7211.
right.
And you could always find us on Facebook or Instagram, the usuals.
Excellent, excellent. Wonderful speaking with you as always, Mrs. Wells.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much for your time. I know you're really, really busy. We've got a wealth of information on resume writing and also on the services that you offer. I hope people are going to start calling you to get their cruises together and get their medication in, and also those people wanting to just travel to the US on vacation come over to get their visa applications and tickets and everything done from the leverage management group. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful
Thank
week.
you, and all the best to you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye bye.